Hello and welcome, my goblins, to another session with myself and all the friendly peoples doing a thing. That's the Strange Aeons second edition campaign, conversion from first. And last when we left off, they had run into an old lady whose chest had burst open and was liberally gushing forth a river of blood, which seemed to react to their presence by showing them images of things in the past. All right, so now that we are here, you guys have found some stuff in the nurse's station. You found some other cultists who kind of ran away. What do you guys want to do next?
I think me and Neri were trying to burn the body.
Yeah, that is something we were trying to do.
Okay, so how are you going to burn it?
I believe there was a bunch of well, it looks like there's like a bunch of furniture and stuff around. I assume most of it would have been made out of wood, so I figured we would kind of pile that up around her and light it on fire.
What's the floor made out of?
The floor, like much of the other floor in the place, is made out of solid stone.
It is solid stone. Okay.
Yep.
Good. Then we could just make sure there's a good
Containment.
meter or two between the fire and everything else, and we shouldn't burn the place down.
Yeah.
Okay. The roofs are only about 10 feet high, though, so that's something else you have to take into consideration.
Like the smoke.
Not just the smoke, but the fact that if it's a large fire, it could easily reach the ceiling. But if one of you wants
to be a large fire.
If one of you wants to attempt a check, give me a second. I'll tell you which one to try, because I'm just like open up your character sheets right now. Give me a sec. So I get one of you to roll a survival check. One person to roll a survival check.
I'm good at it.
Okay, and if you
then probably better than me.
Yep, then go ahead and roll. We'll give you a +2 because you're getting aid from Neru. So you build a fire in such a way as to, you believe, limit what's going to happen there. Now, do you dam the river of blood as well, or do you just kind of leave that alone?
I think we were just leaving it alone for this second.
Okay.
Yeah, but dam, you mean just block off, or?
Yeah, throw some of the wood in there too, so they can get all a full circle kind of thing. Yes, no.
I don't think
Actually,
so.
I am curious if it would pool though.
I mean, sure, if you want to try, I'm not going to stop you.
How wide is this pool of blood again, then?
It's about 5 feet wide.
5 feet wide. Do we have anything solid about 5 feet wide in our room?
Sorry, say that again, please.
Do we have anything that's 5 feet wide that's solid in the room?
There are a few couches that you can throw across there, yeah.
Okay, I'll try putting one across now. I just want to see how it responds.
Okay, so when you purposely attempt to stop the flow, the blood, oddly enough, travels along the seams of the couch and comes out the other side.
So basically just goes up and over and continues on?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, okay. We'll continue with burning.
Okay, so you guys go ahead and start the fire. As you kind of put match to wood, as it were, does anybody actually have a tinderbox?
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
I assume there's one in Explorer packs, right?
There would be.
Then yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys go ahead and strike the tinder. You're trying your best to actually light the entire thing on fire. And as you do, it quickly kind of there's a few sparks, it catches, and then the fire spreads rapidly from where you strike it to all the way around her body, and then it kind of pushes inwards. You can see the blood begins to darken and kind of coagulate, still moving like slime across her body into the floor. And as her body catches, you can see something strange about it. It's almost like something's moving inside the fire itself. With a quick scream up towards the ceiling, a large cloud of mist and smoke erupts. And nothing else happens. The body sits there burning for a good 2-3 hours. The old lady wasn't exactly small, and her fat makes for a pretty good candle. And a very oddly appealing smell. Cooked people is weird.
And what happens to the flow of blood?
It doesn't stop. It continues. Black and sludgy, but still there.
And so, what happens if I look into the blood? Do I see anything?
You see faint images, but you think you'd have to get pretty close to be able to determine what they actually are.
How close can I get without touching the water? Or blood, I should say.
As close as you want. You don't have to touch it. You can be like a foot away from it, and as long as your face is close enough, you can see.
Sorry, I meant that as I'm going to get close to the blood and see what I can see.
Okay.
Because I see something, which I assume is out of the normal, because I don't think you should be able to see images in blood.
Well, some of the greatest diviners used blood to see the future.
I'm not a diviner.
It's true. So you get as close as you can to the blood kind of pouring out of this lady's body, now dark and sludgy. You begin to see that faintly moving mist, and you see faces, skull-like and terrifying, wearing robes of some sort. And it looks like the rough sackcloth. Before you have to make a reflex saving throw. Okay. So you do your best to kind of get in there and take a look at the image, and then you're kind of looking along the side and you catch to the corner of your eye something else moving in the sludge, when a hand erupts out of this river and grabs you by the shoulder and starts dragging you along with it. Quickly you're pulled into the river itself, and it's far deeper than you imagined. It's like struggling against a meters deep river filled with rapids, as those charred black bits of blood still coming from the fire buffet you around. Go ahead and make another reflex save. You manage to eventually catch yourself on the side of this bloody river, and as you kind of hold on, you can feel, oddly enough, the floor itself. It's like it's only an inch or two thick, like thin ground you can clasp onto with your hands. You're still being pulled, but at least you're stuck in one spot for now. Although the blood does seem to flow into all the bits and cracks and crevices in your armor, touching your skin. You can feel that sludgy, disgusting paste touching you all over.
Am I allowed to do something now?
Absolutely.
Like, try to pull myself out?
Mm-hmm.
That is athletics?
Are you attempting just to pull yourself out, or are you attempting anything tricky kind of thing?
I think just probably trying to pull myself straight out.
That would be an athletics
Pretty
check
gross.
then, yeah.
That's not a very good roll.
You attempt to pull yourself out of the sludge, and you get up onto your elbows before a sudden current pushes you just a little further down. You're now about halfway down this blackened red river.
Guys,
Any
you
of us
gotta
see
help
this
me
thing?
out here?
Yeah, you all see this. You're all just standing there gaping as your friend is being pulled along, literally half sunken into the floor, if not more.
Yeah, I'll reach to grab him and pull him out.
All right. You can go ahead and roll another athletics check if you would like, Nair. This time you will have a +2 to it. Okay.
19.
So you struggle and Litrix runs over to you, grabbing you by the arm, and begins trying to pull you out of the sludge itself. Litrix, what's your AC again?
My AC?
Mm-hmm.
21.
Okay. So another arm forms itself out of the sludge and tries to slap you into the river as well, but you manage to avoid it and pull your companion out, at least up to the waist. But you can see now, instead of just the ruddy red that's liquid rushing past, like a sort of odd clay, it's clinging to Neru's waist and down, still trying to suck them back in.
Can I do an occultist check on it?
Do you really want to distract yourself in the middle of doing something physical by doing something mental?
No.
Okay, I was just wondering. You can entirely do that if you'd like.
Oh. That's okay.
Okay. So I'll get Neru or Latrix at this point because Neru's halfway out. Either one of you can roll an athletics check. Only one of you, though, please.
I'll perform that if you don't mind, Naru.
Yeah, my rolls have not been good, so go for it.
Okay, you grab Neru this time by just under the shoulder plate where the leather armor sits. I believe you use leather armor, don't you, Neru?
Chain shirt.
That's fair. Then grabbing underneath the arms instead, you pull them completely out onto the side, their feet still touching the red clayish blood, but it's not strong enough to pull them in. You do notice that, oddly enough, Neru is completely clean. Not a single speck or rivulet of blood left on their body.
Don't go near the blood.
Now that I have him out, can I perform an occultist check?
Absolutely. Okay, so taking a moment to think about this, you do recognize this is definitely a haunt still. Like we discussed last time, haunts have specific triggers that'll actually end them. Although typically destroying the source does do it for a little while, keeping an eye on the still burning, still crisping body, you're pretty sure this really isn't the way to dispose of it. It's still bleeding, still liquid on the inside, and that's all it really needs to continue. So you need to you either need to find out what this haunt was afraid of, what it so terrified it in life it needed to stay around for, or just leave it be. Go around. Hopefully you can avoid it.
We've already, some of us have looked into the blood and seen the images, but didn't really give us a clear picture of what was the cause of this haunt. So maybe we should I'll take a quick look around the room and see if there's any clues, but we might just have to leave it for now.
Even if we knew what it was afraid of, how would we respond to trying to break it is the thing. Like, for example, if we knew its fear was, if it was afraid of drowning, what would we do to go about breaking the cycle, or, you know?
If it was something like drowning, maybe they actually did die by drowning, and you just have to recover the body and bring it to dry land. If it was something like they were eaten by beasts, maybe you have to slay the beasts and recover their body and give them a proper burial. In this case, something terrified her. Obviously, must have terrified her. This is based on your occultist check. Terrified her, but her heart exploding. Something freaked her out about that, and that's why there's this river of blood, and her heart literally exploded.
Okay, so I would like to take some time. So I'm going to use my Pursue a Lead ability.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to spend a minute examining details of one potential clue, in this case the clue being the body and the woman or whatever's left of it, and I'm gonna make the target of my investigation the source of her fear and what caused her to what created this haunt.
Okay. I'll get you to go ahead and roll a perception check for me. Damn. So taking your time to think about this and look around the body itself with your extra sensory abilities and your sheer ingenuity, you notice that, of course, she's an old lady. Right? When you saw her body, she was a very old lady. She was probably in here for quite some time. She appeared to be... She's in a wheelchair, so her legs were fairly frail, but she was a large person, which suggests she probably didn't have a whole lot of motility. She was probably aided a whole lot. So she was reliant on others. Someone like that in this day and age, well, it means she was probably on a whole lot of medication. And it's entirely possible, you believe, that her medication and the lack therein because the revolution occurred might have actually scared her. Maybe she was afraid of not taking her meds. You're not entirely sure. But you think the medication probably has something to do with it.
And there was medication in the room just north of here, like this area.
There was, yeah. And I believe that Litrix and Neru actually, or was it Seveston? I believe Seveston may have played with it a bit, gotten a healer's kit or two out of it. Possibly. I'd have to rewatch last session.
It wasn't me. I think it was Seveston.
it was
Yeah.
Seventh, I do believe.
Okay.
And Ostrich.
A healer's kit full of drugs.
It's true. Although no
Are
psychotropics,
you-
sadly.
And I think
You-
there's some odd medications too.
Can you say that again? Sorry,
I'm
Rigel?
going to propose.
I think there was some odd medications.
Yeah.
Besides the regular stuff.
Right. And Ostrich?
I'm going to propose that we offer some of those medications to the charred remains of this old woman.
I agree.
Just like
Uh,
put it in her mouth, toss them in her chest. What are you gonna do?
That's what I was wondering last week. That's what I was wondering myself. Do we just like it's like the whole bandaging, right? Like
If they're oral meds, let's just go with oral. Try and
Okay.
put them in whatever she has remaining for a mouth.
It's
Let's give
fairly
that a
crispy
try.
fried at the moment, but yeah. Of course, the smell and the heat is enough to put anybody off at the moment. It's not a pretty sight and definitely not a pretty smell. Whoever wants to actually try this is going to have to roll a fairly good fortitude save.
I'll try it.
Okay. So as you approach with the pills and outstretched already, like ready to put them in her mouth, you can see her white eyes, half melted jelly, kind of turn towards you, even in her fragile state. The neck creaks and the little bits of hair dust off into nothingness and ash. She reaches out a still burning hand, the tendons and bone underneath stark white against the black of the flesh, and holds her hand out for the pill.
I'll give it to her.
The voice kind of comes from a ruined mouth. You can see a lot of the teeth have exploded from the pressure and the heat, and you hear a faint whisper. Water.
I'll hand her some water too.
Okay, so you give her your water skin, I assume, and she clutches it. Those fingers now bony, the nails kind of wrinkled from the extreme temperature. She takes a quick sip. You can see the bits and pieces of her face come away with your water skin as she hands it back to you, grabs the pill, and with obvious difficulty makes a swallowing motion. You can actually see some of the water kind of spread out from where there's some holes in her throat. And then there's a faint, it almost looks like a grimace, but you assume it could have been a smile had her lips been entirely intact, as her head kind of rolls back, and the fire immediately goes out. There's a sudden slowing and then a stopping as the blackened red of her blood stops flowing from her chest.
Sounds good. I'll toss my water skin aside.
Fair enough. That's a reasonable response.
Although, I could probably get away with using it, but I won't.
It's not that bad. It only has like old lady skin on it. Burnt old
That's
lady
all.
skin.
My lizard blood would take care of it, but I just don't like the thought.
All right, so we have an option here now. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's a door there.
Mm-hmm.
So we could probably go down that hall, or we could go down this way.
You know what they say, but the path most difficult. Let's go where the blood was.
Okay.
As we're heading over there, there's a door we can access now, too, right there, right?
Yeah, there are two doors there that you can see now, that the red curtain of blood has kind of fallen away from the ceiling and left it bare. There's still a faint stain, a smudge on the ground against the white of the stone and tile, but it's not scary anymore. You can see a definite end to the other side. There is the door that's to the north and the door that's to the west. Which one do you guys want to try?
North.
Or to the north. I'll
Yep.
take up my shield and dagger and raise my shield.
Okay. So the door itself
Yep, I'll
is
have my
different.
dagger out, too.
The door itself is different from the others. It actually looks to be a rather thin door, not one that's had that heavy oak that you're used to help protect people. It's thin. It doesn't seem to be too easy or too hard to move. So as you kind of check it out, you open it up, and you can see on the inside there are racks of cleaning supplies and bins of stained laundry kind of stew here, filling the closed space with a unique kind of acrid scent.
Let's take a look
Anything
inside.
interesting or of value by the looks of it?
You can go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay.
And what was that, Ostrich?
I said I was gonna take a look inside. Does my that's odd ability trigger?
Certainly it does. There's actually a pile of rags in the corner that looks to you to be out of place and unusual. It's even for a room filled with stained laundry, it looks rough and bloodied.
I will go examine those rags.
Okay.
I'm going to use a hero point on that perception check.
Absolutely. Don't forget everyone gets one hero point at the beginning of a session. That's for everybody. Okay. So, Litrix, you take a look around the room, and it looks like there's nothing worth salvaging. Anything that could have been, any clothing or items that could have been useful, were probably destroyed because they've been stewing in an acidic kind of mix for the laundry for far too long, a week or two easily. For you, though, Ostrich, you take a closer look around, you find in the corner a lone woman bearing numerous stab wounds, her body kind of pitched against the side, still human, and as you get closer, definitely dead.
I would like to examine the corpse.
Okay, you can see on her person that she had, like I said, numerous stab wounds. There's the signs of it being bandaged, the signs of deep nails like gouging at her armor. They remind you of ghoul nails and gas nails. This woman fought to save people. That's easy to see. You can see that her suit of studded leather armor, although damaged, is still useful. and that her cloak, this sort of odd stained red now, but originally white, bordered and trimmed in gold, looks entirely intact, which it shouldn't be, of course. And there are 2 vials on her person. Well, there are about 8 vials in her person. 6 of them are empty. 2 of them still contain a bit of an odd rusty red liquid, and another one that has a kind of silvery, sometimes gold, sometimes sheen to it.
Okay, so first order of business, I want to make sure that there's no chance of her coming, uh, being,
Wait, are
because
we 100% sure she's dead?
Yes.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, if he was fighting ghoul, there's a chance that she was infected by the ghoul fever. I want to make sure that there's no chance of her becoming a reanimated corpse before we start looting her.
Okay, so you take a moment, you poke her with your sword cane, and she doesn't stir. And you can see now
Okay.
that like her stab wounds are clearly from blades. The rending and then the gashing from the ghoul nails all end at her armor. She was quick and powerful, but those stab wounds, they make you think she might have been betrayed by people. Not by animals, not by monsters, by people.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I'll take those vials. I'll take the 6 empty ones and add them to my kind of collection for potentially gathering up samples later on, and then I'll.
Uh, you
Uh,
you do note that the ones that you gather all have the faintest remnants of a bright red fluid in the bottom, which you recognize. They were all lesser elixirs of life.
okay, and can I assume that like one of the remainders is that as well?
No, it's a different color. It's a deeper, darker red.
Okay, I'll take those and for for examination in a few moments, and I'll also take a look. Is there anything that strikes me about her studded leather armor or her cloak, aside from the fact that it's more intact than it ought to be?
What languages do you speak?
I speak Common, Varisian, Jotun, Aklo, and Shadow Tongue.
Sorry, I'm trying to take a look here. Say those again?
Common,
Mm-hmm.
Varisian,
Mm-hmm.
Jotun, Aklo, and Shadow Tongue.
Okay, so the Yodan, the tongue of the giants, is actually super helpful for you here. You're not sure why you recognize the writing, but you do. The golden sigils emblazoned in this are all written. They're Jotun glyphs, glyphs of power and magic. This was made for a giant friend, someone who actually helped them in the past, and it looks like it's a robe of protection of some sort. You're not. It's hard to determine exactly what it does, but these are glyphs of blood and magic and protection and defense.
And that's the cloak, and the armor is just regular studded leather.
Yeah, it has no magic embossing to it at all.
I'll take that cloak then as well, but leave the armor.
Okay, as you take the cloak and you shift
Although
it,
I'll shout out and ask if anyone would benefit from a set of studded leather. I'm already wearing studded leather, so it's means nothing to me.
as you take the cloak and shift it, you do notice that a longsword drops out of its remnants. Although a longsword's a broad term for it because it's shattered about a foot away from the hilt.
I'll grab that as well.
Okay.
And I'll just take it all out into the room we were just in and lay it down on the ground, and we can divvy it up as we see fit.
Probably still take the studded armor. If nobody can use it, we could probably use it for something else later on.
I mean, if you've got the carrying capacity to carry a set of armor that you're not going to wear, then go ahead, but I don't have that much carrying capacity
Okay.
I can
available.
easily carry that in the backpack.
And I would also say that would leave this woman naked.
Hmm.
So While they're divvying up her stuff, I'm gonna take her over to where the other lady was on fire and give her a proper send-off.
Okay. If someone is taking her armor, I need to know.
I'm not comfortable with stripping someone naked.
Okay. So you take a moment and you bring her over to the pyre, or what should be a pyre. It's now just kind of a blackened, burnt set pile of wood. You lay her down beside it, and in a few moments, you manage to surround her with enough to catch her on fire as well. It burns like a normal body does. This time, not wasting the whole time being a blackened husk, but instead quickly burning until there's not much left of her. Within an hour, she's gone entirely.
Alright. I'll say my regular prayers as I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the same.
Okay. So you guys have scoured this room.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, where I follow Phrasma, you can just assume that anytime it comes to like someone dying in that, I'll definitely give a prayer up that the soul reaches its destination.
Mm-hmm.
While they're going out with that religious nonsense, I'll begin examining the items in question and trying to further discern their use and function.
Okay. For the robes themselves, you would probably need to do an identification spell. But for the potions, if you make a successful craft check, I would allow you to determine what they can do.
Would a medicine check be applicable? Or does it have to be craft?
If these were related to healing or diseases, I would allow a medicine check, but neither of them are. So I would say...
Arcana, would that...
no, I would say that these would have to be a craft check. Sorry.
Okay. Well...
Okay, so which one do you wish to identify first?
So what were the two colors? There
There's
was a rusty red and a like silvery swirly one.
Yeah, silver and gold swirls.
I'll examine the silver and gold swirls one first.
Okay. So you take a moment, you take a look at it, you uncork it, dip a finger in, and just take a look at the viscosity and stuff. You take a quick test, and you can feel the kind of energy that flows over your body. And for some reason, a memory is recalled out of your past. This is a potion of protection from aberrations. It means that when they attempt to attack you, they have to roll twice and take a lower number.
Alrighty, that has... I can imagine that would be very useful.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll like put that down on the ground and explain its function. And move on to the next potion.
Okay. Okay, you dip. You do the same thing. You give it a sniff. You pop it open. You give it a quick taste and look, and immediately you feel the surge of strength to your hands and arms as they bulk up just slightly. You feel like you can do pretty much anything. This is a potion of strength, potion of ogre strength, and for that matter. So drinking it sets your strength score to 19.
Okay.
For 1 hour.
Right, so put that beside the other one and explain its function to the party. Then I'll take a look at that sword.
Okay, the sword itself is it's in pieces. You can see, you get the various tattered shards of it. You can see it's also inscribed in the Yodan tongue. There are golden glyphs that run along it. But these seem more like prayers of well wishes than actual magic enchantment.
So this is just like a broken giant sword.
Yeah, a giant forged longsword, yeah. It's not... You don't think it has any magical significance, no.
Okay, well, that's a longsword for somebody if they want it. And then, is there any way for me to like just like I kind of have already got a sense of the cloak, but can I like take a further look at it to see if I can discern exactly what it does?
If you were to take an hour fooling around with it, trying to become acquainted with it, then you could definitely learn its function, or you could cast an identify spell, one of the two. So if you guys wanted to spend an hour in here, totally possible.
I think that the cleric is the only one who has magic at this point, so unless they have an identify spell, I don't really think we have a good chance.
I don't have anything prepared, but
I have nothing against taking an hour for prayers and relaxing.
Well,
sure.
Yeah, sounds fine.
I'll also I would imagine this cloak is probably, just based on what I read, probably going to be most useful to those who have the lowest AC of the party. So I'm just gonna add kind of, I know that I know we're speaking in mechanical terms and game terms right now, but basically I'm just gonna ask around the party to see like who would benefit the most from a boost in defensive power, and let that be the decision. Let that be what decides who tries to invest this item.
Probably somebody who's standing in the front, I would say.
That's how I would tacticalize things.
That doesn't really narrow it down, unfortunately, because there are at least two of you that stand in the front with regularity. It all depends on what you guys want to do with it.
I mean, so I'm gonna look to Sevston because I think he and I are both two people who generally get into melee range, and we also don't have the benefit of full like heavy armor. We're both fairly light in that category, and so I think between whoever has the lowest AC should be the one who attunes to this.
So in metagame turns, I have an AC of 20, but it can go up to 22 when I'm doing a dueling parry.
I have an AC of 18.
So you should go ahead and use it.
Okay. Then I will spend the hour and attune to the item.
Absolutely. So after the
I'll
hour...
also,
Oop, go ahead.
I was also going to say, I think that the potion of... while I'm doing that, I'll let the rest of the party decide who wants those... how they want to split up those potions.
The potion of strength is useless to me. For I am already mighty.
Okay.
If it's not useful to anyone else, I could use the potion of strength.
Sure.
And go right ahead.
So Ostrich, spending the time with the cloak in question, you learn of its benefits, which it offers a +1 bonus to all of your saving throws. And I'll give you the title of it. It's the Cloak of Yodan Resistance. It's a special magical item that doesn't require the potency or the power rune before it actually has runes associated with it. But this one in question is a Cloak of Resilience. Cloak of Yodan Resilience, but resilience nonetheless. Sorry, no armor benefit, but it does improve all your saving throws by 1.
It's great in this place.
What's its bulk?
Light.
And it provides a +1 to all my saving throws.
That it does.
Okay. Go ahead and make those adjustments on my sheets.
And all that's left is the silver potion to discuss.
No, I already.
Oh, you took
yeah,
that?
discussed.
I didn't hear that.
Oh no, sorry, I identified it, but I didn't claim it or anything. But I think that would be good for probably Litrix, since they're the tanky paladin of the group.
I have no arguments there. Uh, no. Sorry, Devin, could you say one more time what that silver potion does exactly?
It essentially in 5e terms, it forces disadvantage against for attacks against you.
Which attacks from aberrations, correct?
Correct.
And for how long?
1 minute. All right, where do you guys want to go from here?
I think we were gonna go west down that hall.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay, so as you exit the kind of stationary, the cleaning room kind of thing here, you guys head towards the hallway there. 1 second, I have to double check on something. Yeah, okay. So the hall is dark and empty except for the kind of smashed remains of a lantern on the ground. 6 doors branch from here, including one that you came into. And you can see that each one of them is, you think, unlocked. Where do you want to go?
Is that? Sorry, we had a map from before, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Does it show all these rooms? Like, do we know how to get through here?
Yeah. You guys know, like, the reason you can see the whole map is because you know relatively what's in there.
Okay. So, are we wanting to check and clear all these rooms, or are we just trying to rush through here?
Well, we don't have to worry about infections anymore, correct? So now we want to at least find these doppelgangers. So we should probably be thorough.
Okay. So, left or right, I guess.
I vote right.
Right, it is.
Right is right.
Okay.
Oh,
So, as you head into the room itself, you can see racks cluttered with boxes and sprawling collections of haphazard junk kind of fill. It looks like a dusty storage room. Taking a look, the room seems to hold the personal effect of hundreds of Briarstone patients.
personal effects, as in
Mm-hmm.
what they came here with.
Yep.
Oh dear lord.
Are there any names that stand out or are recognizable based on what we've encountered so far?
Nothing particularly. And then you hear, in the distance, a faint shuffling and cursing in this room.
Can I do a quick detect magic before anything happens?
taking a look around, it looks like there's no magic in the room, no.
Okay.
I'll raise my shield and dagger and go and round the corner to investigate the source of the sound.
Okay.
I'm gonna be quiet and go into stealth mode.
I'd like to do that as well.
Okay.
And have the Beast Slayer drawn.
So as you go around the corner, you see a lady wearing the kind of yellow sackcloth, young, it appears at first, standing in front of what appears to be just a pile of dolls. And as you listen to her, she's speaking in Varisian, and it sounds like she's trying to tutor them in how to do mathematical equations. She hasn't noticed you at all. She's too fixated on talking to the dolls.
Is this where we should all quietly back out of the room?
Are you guys going to back up and leave?
I get a quick look at the woman to see if there's anything about her that kind of stands out or would indicate that she's any kind of potential threat or otherwise. Hello?
Did we lose a GM guy?
Maybe?
Possibly.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can.
We
Yeah.
can.
Yep.
Perfect. Don't know what that is. Where did I cut out at?
I asked the question
Yes, the
and
question.
we never heard any response.
Okay. I was saying that that's odd kind of triggers before seeing the thing. I forgot to mention it. There's a pile of stuff over here that looks like it's recently been burnt. And then that's odd. It doesn't stop there, because as you're watching the woman in question, she turns around, her eyes seem glazed over, not entirely there. And it looks like the eyes of the dolls are following her. As she's teaching, it actually looks like they're watching her.
Okay, well, I am going to silently approach that pile of rags or whatever, the burnt supplies,
Mm-hmm.
and investigate those.
Okay.
Where exactly is the woman in the room?
She's over here. You guys came in over here.
Okay. Okay. I want to kind of hide around the bookcase, prepared if she makes any hostile move to go towards her and attack.
All right.
I assume you want me to do a perception check.
I would love that, yes. Oh, that's weird. Just attempted something and it didn't want to work.
I think he's reached enlightenment.
Sorry, folks. I just need 1 second to finish something out right quick, because it's being unusual. To say the least. Okay, so taking a moment to look through everything that was there, you do find a few scattered fragments here and there that appear to be clothing, maybe a book, and the scraps of shoes, possibly. And looking at the bin that was half destroyed, you get one half of a name. It's Dalus, Dallas.
Okay. Okay, got that written down. And then I will kind of motion silently to my party members to the dolls and point to my eyes and point to the doll eyes and just like give like a stutter, like exaggerated to show that I like let them know that something creepy is afoot.
Fair enough.
Can I possibly do an occultism check on those dolls?
Go ahead.
I'd like to do the same, but with a religion check, if possible.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to re-roll that
with a hero
occultism
point?
check.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, that was mine.
Nara, based on the religions that you know of, none of them really focus on dolls as a metric or as some sort of ritual focus, so you're not sure. Sebastian, you've heard that sometimes the souls of children can get trapped in dolls. And you're pretty sure that's what's happened here. And it looks a little creepy.
Yeah. And just as a aside, would this trigger oddity identification if it's magic that involves mental possession, prediction, or scrying traits?
It would not, no.
Okay. Okay.
Did you relay that information to us about the souls trapped in dolls?
Do you really want to talk in the room right now? You can feel free to discuss if you'd like.
Maybe we should leave the room before we discuss it.
All right, I will assume that you guys actually do leave the room before talking, because that would be the intelligent thing to do. And as you leave the room itself, you can hear discussing about how, no, children, 2 + 2 is 4, before you close the door ever so quietly. Now you're back in the hallway.
I will relay to them what I remember about dolls possibly involving the souls of children being trapped inside of them.
Do we suspect that that woman put the souls in those dolls? Should we just go and stab her? Like, is that the solution to this puzzle? Actually, I would like to roll to see if I would have that knowledge myself. Would I be able to do that, Devin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna check too.
I assume occultism.
Yes, it would be. Based on what you saw, it didn't actually look like that sort of possession. Instead, it looked as if not the souls of children to you, because you saw the glazed look in her eye, but it looked like a forced manifestation of her madness. And you've seen this before in the asylum, where madness interacts with reality in odd ways. Based on the glaze in her eyes and the way that the children were just so focused on her, those dolls were so focused on her, it's more likely that it's her madness come to life and not some innocents being harmed.
So no need to crush the dolls and release the souls.
You also know that crushing the dolls would not release the souls. That is a terrible idea.
Okay. That was the other thing I wanted to check with her.
In that case, I think should be okay to just leave that woman alone, since it doesn't seem like she's really harming anyone. And
I got no issues with that.
Okay. All right. So where do
Okay.
you guys want to head next?
Should we do that room to the south?
Sure.
let's give it a
I'm
try.
okay with just going one. I'm okay with just going door by door and being
Okay.
thorough.
So as you open this room,
Mhm.
the door opens outwards, and as you attempt to go in, a landslide of rock and stone greet you. The entire room here seems to have caved in. You can see faintly through some of the debris light filtering through, and the faintest of yellow mist coming through as well, and beginning to grow around your feet, puddling on the inside now, as it's kind of let in from the door.
Close the door. Close the door.
I think the rock debris might prevent us from closing the door now.
You can kick a lot of it out of the way, and you'd be able to close it. It wouldn't take too long, 5-10 minutes.
I think that's worth it to get rid of the mist.
Okay, so as you guys kick it out of the way, you shut the door. Where do you want to head to now?
We'll just go into
It's
the
that
next
door.
door.
That one?
Everyone's pinging it, yeah. Um, so as you kind of walk in, you open the room, you can see there's a lady clutching a bunch of records, kind of looking around the place, quickly scanning through all of them. She looks up only to see that you are wearing yellow before she looks back down. You can see the handles of dozens of drawers frown from the faces of numerous matching cabinets. Many of the drawers are open, their contents, volumes and volumes, maybe a library's worth of pages, just blanket the floor. She mutters a little bit and goes back to looking at doing what she's doing.
Do I
Basically,
see
just throwing
anything worth
books everywhere.
looking at?
Nothing is really odd about this room, no. Just her wearing the yellow sackcloth robe with a faint bit of yellow paint on the middle of her forehead, clutching what looks to be just sheets.
Sheets of blank paper.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, not blank paper. They are filled with a lot of things, a lot of writing. Apologies.
Would it be possible to take a quick look around and see if there's any of those files worth taking a closer look at?
Absolutely. So you take a moment to look around, and I will get everyone to roll a perception check, please. Okay. So, Seveston, you're the first person to find something interesting. You find a sheet that mentions you. Even going by your nickname, down to the smallest detail, they describe your physical appearance. And then they have you termed as an amnesiac, which is weird. You're not really an amnesiac. You only lost a few months. And then you notice the date that they put you in there. And as you're looking through this file that seems to contain several dozen pages on you, there's an updated year in each of the sheets, an updated year and month. You haven't been here for just a few months. You've been here for years. 3,
Guys,
4, maybe 5?
you want to look at this right now.
It mentions that you were found with a group of other amnesiacs wandering the grounds, and you're not sure why you ended up here. And it mentions that none of you knew your name, where you had come from, or what you've been doing for a very long time. And even then, it's been 5 years. You've been trapped here, or you've been here for 5 years.
Is there a way that I can try and determine whether this feels true to me or whether this feels like something that's being made up?
I was wondering the same.
That is entirely for you to decide as a person. You can go ahead and roll a will save and see if that determines whether or not this is an illusion.
I like to do that.
It's not an illusion. taking a closer look, you can see the parchments do age. They're not just all the same color, no. And the ink is different. The writing is different for each one. It's signed by different people, different doctors. There are different medications prescribed, different treatments. 5 years worth of files just on Seveston. And then Ostrich, you find yours. Same thing, admitted the same date with a group of other amnesiacs. Your description down to birthmarks that you forgot you had for a moment. And it looks like the same doctors. 5 years you've been here. Different medications, different doctors, all the writing, it changes. The parchments yellow differently. It hasn't been months. It's been a long time.
I'm tucking this file into my backpack.
Okay.
I'll be like, guys, I need you to check to see if I have a birthmark here, and they're going to take off my pants and show everyone.
It turns out that yes, you do. It's the shape of a half moon on your right buttock. You couldn't see it, but it's there now.
I take it we all find our names?
No. Neru and Litrix, you guys don't find one in yourselves. But between Ostrich and Litrix, sorry, Ostrich and Seveston, you do find something else, which I'm going to share with you guys right now. Give me a moment. Did not. Oh no, it didn't. There we go. So there should be a thing popping up on your screen.
I am not seeing anything.
Boop. Now it should be there. Or it should be under your handouts.
I see it.
Oh, I see it too.
Patient record
it
over Xandalus. Male.
Oh,
Descent, approximate age 47. Home is suspected.
It popped up on mine. I just exited.
Should one of us be reading it out loud for the streaming audience?
I will, once you guys are done. Or while you're reading. The patient record for Over Xandalus, male, Varisian, descent, approximate age is 47. Home suspected to be Rosenport, Versex County. Committed on 2 Saraneth, 4685. Circumstances, transferred from Pharasman Lamentations in Rosenport. Attendant doctor is Eliej Lozandro. Xandalus exhibits complete withdrawal from society and an inability to care for himself in any but the most basic modes. The symptoms of his passive antisociality chronically present as mutism and blankness. Frequent night terrors result in brief but dramatic nocturnal outbursts, shouting, shaking, fear responses. Xandalus grasps the difference between sleep and wakefulness and typically recovers from nightmares quickly. Treatment. Therapy is antipsychotic regimen and observation. Development. On 2/487. 4687, Xandalus proves to be a gifted and prolific artist. He has enthusiastically taken to using a charcoal drawing set to create dramatic but fanciful works of art, typically of surreal architecture and skyscapes. Art calms him in the wake of nightmares. He will be afforded basic supplies to continue such art therapy. Development 11-4702. A shift has occurred in Xandalus's art. He has repeatedly, almost perfectly illustrated one of the ancient standing stones situated at the northwestern corner of the asylum grounds. As the Isle's shores are off limits to patients, I do not believe he has ever seen the subject of his work. The significance or coincidence of this brooks further study. Development 3/4715. Count Hazerton Lowes has taken an interest in Xandalus. First his art, and now the artist. Lowes has become a repeat visitor, spending hours with my patient, but refuses to explain his interest.
Does the name of that count ring any bells?
Thinking about it, something in the back of your mind says you've heard the name before, but and it gives you shivers, this feeling of dread, but you can't think of where from.
And there's that name, Xandalus again, and I'm also kind of realizing now that that Dallas name we found before is probably just the last bit of the name Xandalus.
possible, yeah.
When did your guys' records say you guys were admitted?
5 years ago.
The last of their entries actually occur in 4716. You guys were admitted in 4711.
Do I remember what year it was when we received the mission to come here?
Thinking back and thinking hard, it's fuzzy, but 4710? It had to be 4710. You actually thought it was still like 4711. For some reason, that year was stuck in your head. It was only 4711.
Um,
And an awkward silence.
And what about those the standing stones that were mentioned in that note?
You do know that
Any?
nothing comes to mind. Maybe if you saw one again, but you'd have to get off the asylum grounds because they dip down to the shore, which is, and the faintest memories of this asylum begin to come back to you. This is on an island, and it's heavily wreathed by coral and rocks. Thinking about it, you remember things you shouldn't, the layout of rooms, the names of people, and some horrible memories, and you don't... None of it really makes sense right now.
hmm. I'm gonna ask the lady what she's looking for if she needs a hand.
I'm looking for the Master's records. He wants them purged.
I'm gonna go check out this door.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as you move into the next room, you notice that it's locked. This is one of the only rooms in the entire place that's been locked, but you can't. You tried; it's completely locked.
Can I attempt to unlock that door?
Do you have a set of tools to do so?
I do.
Then you have a check to make, good sir. A thievery check, please. So you attempt to unlock the door itself, but the lock is very well made. Extraordinarily well made. In fact, you wouldn't be surprised if it was a mastercraft lock from a dwarven smith. It would take a fair bit more skill than what you just demonstrated to unlock it.
How about the door?
The
How
door
sturdy does the
itself
door look?
is very solid, and taking a look, you can see it does open towards you, and a look around the edges shows that it's actually seated in stone. So trying to push it the other way, like break it down, you'd have to be very strong.
Is there any way to like?
Sorry, go ahead.
Is there any way to like dismantle the door, like unscrew the hinges?
Oddly enough, the hinges aren't on this side. Weird, isn't it?
If I cast guidance on Seviston, would he be able to try again?
Absolutely, he would.
I'll also take a quick examination of the lock to help him out and provide some
Assistance?
instruction or guidance, like from a intellectual, like non-magical
Okay.
means.
So what bonus does he get for guidance, Mr. Nero? Let us know.
It's just a +1 on his roll.
All right, so you'll
Okay.
be rolling your next check with a total of +3, Seviston.
Okay.
With a 31,
Does a 31 work?
it most certainly does. You manage to pop the lock, and as the door actually kind of gently comes open, you notice that the hinges of this thing are actually built into the door itself. They try to make it as impossible to bypass as could be. The hinges are actually in the center along the line of the door, so that it could open either way, but about an inch-thick lip of stone prevents it from opening inwards. The walls of this crowded room are covered by filing cabinets, except for one space where a battered old painting of a somber, towering structure hangs.
I'll take a look.
I'm going to look
Painting.
for more information on Xandalas.
Okay. Taking a look around, you do note that I made a mistake and the handout actually came from this room, not the last room, because I'm silly. Sorry, the handout, the actual handout that we read off should have come from this room. I was just reading the wrong one. So that's what you find in here. In addition to that, there are around, like there are a bunch of little mini episodes that he has between that. Some of them, and sometimes it describes nightmares that he has. At first it starts off with your basic dying kind of thing, and then more and more it became Xandalas becoming a monster.
All right, guys, keep those records from the crazy girl. I'll whisper that to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a look at that painting while they're looking for. I guess retroactively, I would have been the one helping find that note, but after that's found, I'll look to the painting, examine it.
So, taking a quick look, the painting itself, it triggers a memory, and you remember riding on a cart up to a very large and imposing structure, much like this one, and you remember a quick motion, a quick blurring, and then you found yourself in a room. You couldn't get out. You couldn't feel anything around you. It felt like you were being trapped, like you were stuck. And then nothing. And you're brought with the memory that this hung building is Thrushmore Asylum. This is a painting of where you are right now, from the outside, from the road. And you've seen that view before, just once. It seems like a long time ago now.
I think Ostrich is going to have a brief little panic attack at this little sudden onset of memories and kind of realizing what's been going on and how long he's been here, and he's just going to, like, just in a moment of just brief uncontrolled fury, take his sword cane and just slash at that painting madly.
Well, you'll receive a hero point as you destroy the painting. And oddly enough, behind it, set into the wall, is a small alcove.
I will take a quick breath, just collect myself, be like, slick my hair back, and be like, well, that felt lovely. And I will take a look into that alcove.
I didn't know you were such a critic of art.
I will also give you a hero point for that, because it actually made me giggle a little bit. That was good. Taking a look into the alcove, there is a small lockbox. Tiny even. No more than a foot in length and about 6 to 8 inches in width.
Is it locked?
It certainly looks so. And as you kind of pull it out and hold it in your hands, it's heavier than you expected. And behind, you can see that there is... It looks to be a sword in kind of a crimson scabbard, kind of set further back.
Okay, I'll show the lockbox to Severson and be like, oi, cat burglar, do your thing.
I love when people call me a cat burglar.
I'm just going to watch the entrance for anything hostile, Devin.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try and do another check on this box. See if I can do it without the assistance.
So you actually do manage to open the box itself fairly easily. It's much like actually, it's exactly like the lock that you were able to break into getting into this room. And inside you see a small coin purse, and then a string of pearls, as well as a small card, pitch black, with an eye on it.
occultism check on that card.
Mm-hmm. Oop. Gotta wait for Roll20 to catch up because it's not showing me your thing.
16.
16? Okay. Roll20 may have crashed for me. Alrighty.
Oh.
That's fine. I can tell you either way what it is. I don't really need Roll20 at the moment as long as you guys are willing to tell me your rolls. So,
Yep.
you notice it's the symbol of the accusatory eye. It's an occult symbol that's used to help in certain divinations, as well as prominently, and as you kind of flip the card over, it bears the other side of the card it's actually a calling card for the services of the Thrushmore offices of the Sleepless Detective Agency. There is an address on it, and another smaller accusatory eye on the other side. It seems to be their symbol, as it were.
Would I know anything about this detective agency, assuming that Seveston shows this to the group?
Yeah, I'm willing to show this to everybody.
I need you to make a will save.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Yodan Cloak. I'll re-roll that.
21.
21.
I incorporated the oh, sorry, I forgot. But that's with the Jotun Cloak. I went in and added that bonus to my sheet, so it's automatically factored in. So total of 20.
Okay, so... yeah, no, Roll20 finally actually crashed. Okay. I was hoping it would actually come back, but it did not. So I need a moment to actually get Roll20 back up again. You take the moment looking over what you see, and this sudden flash of searing pain strikes you as your brain tries its best to remember, because that accusatory eye, you know the symbol, it's there, it's at the tip of your tongue, and you see just for a moment the fuzzy shape of a man larger than you shaking his hand, asking him something. You're not sure what language he responds in because it doesn't sound right. And then from there you climb into a wagon. That same wagon that brought you here.
Well, that is something to consider. And then you said there was a sword as well in that alcove.
There is.
I'll grab that sword and bring it out.
So as you pull it out, you do notice that it has, like, the sword itself it has a crimson red scabbard. It is very flashy. The pommel is kind of sculpted to be the shape of a cardinal, the bird, and etched in a gold band. The etching is done in the common tongue, and it's named the Red Destiny. Definitely an ostentatious kind of weapon.
Is that like a famous sword that I would know, or?
Not that you remember, no. And right now you're suffering a fairly severe headache thinking about it.
There was a string of pearls and some coins.
Exactly.
Does anybody care if I take these?
No, not really.
Okay.
What is...
How many coins are we talking about? What denomination?
There are 40 gold coins in that coin purse.
Oh, lucky. That's what I charge for opening chests. 40 gold. I'll share 10 gold with each person.
Fair enough.
You can keep the pearls for your services. That's probably actually the better deal in the long run. But
Just based on your previous experience with valuables, the 6 pearls in the string, each pearl is worth 10 gold pieces. So it's a 60 gold piece pearl string.
Well, it's not like money's gonna do us any good in here.
But it might be good for bribing people who care about money.
I say we fix that situation, Ostrich.
Well, I think that's all we're gonna get from this room.
I agree. We should move on to the next room.
Okay. So where are you guys going? One sec. Yeah, where are you guys going now?
This door right here.
All of the notes that we found about Xandalus, who's holding on to those?
I am. I'm
'Kay.
kind of keeping a case file on this godforsaken place.
Okay, so which door was it? Sorry. That one. Okay.
We're leaving the file room back to the hallway and then going through that last door that we haven't been through yet. The the farthest door down the hall on the north wall.
I did have a thought.
Mhm.
There was that pile of stuff that you'd seen and part of the name of Xandalus. Should we go back and maybe give a closer investigation of that?
Sure, I'd be for that.
Even if it means creepy doll lady knowing that we're there, just like do a thorough investigation of the room.
Worst comes to worst, I think we can kill an old lady and some dolls.
Was it an old lady?
She was relatively young, probably late 20s.
Okay.
I got no problem checking it out real quick.
I mean, unless she turns into some horrible abomination, but I mean, what are the chances of that happening?
Although I doubt Ostrich missed anything.
Sorry, you'll have to give me a moment here. I'm taking a look through something real quick. Okay. Because there is something else that you guys get to see potentially. So you guys move towards the place again. You can see, or you go inside, you can see she's still teaching them the basics of addition. Although it sounds like she's half teaching them the basics of addition and half teaching them just the common tongue itself. You go towards the content, that half burnt box, and take a moment to check around inside, and it does reaffirm your suspicions. There's nothing left in there. It's definitely all been burnt down.
So Xandalus' stuff was burnt, and that woman was specifically looking for information on Xandalus, so something tells me Xandalus doesn't want people knowing anything about themselves.
I kind of agree with that conclusion, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is why? What is there to find out about him that would damage him right now?
Probably the key to shutting this whole operation down.
Probably. But if that's the case, it means there's something to find.
I mean, he's the charismatic leader of a cult who doesn't want people to know he's just another insane asylum patient.
That too, but for some reason I feel like he wouldn't care so much what the people thought of him at this point in that sense.
Maybe.
I don't think his end game is these people running around with yellow cloths listening to him. But maybe it is. Maybe he's just a really mad person. But
I have a very odd theory. Would you guys care to hear it?
go ahead.
What if he's trying to get rid of, because we know that he's trying to bring about this dream world. What if he's trying to get rid of all real traces of who he was? If every piece of something that existed in this real world can be destroyed, then he can fill something.
That would make sense to me. If there's no trace of him, then that doesn't-
Anyways, should we continue on now?
I think so. If there's nothing left here in the box, we got what notes we could from the other place.
Okay. So you guys head back to this room here. That's where you wanted to go next.
Yes.
Okay. So as you enter the room, yellow fog soundly roils against the cathedral-like windows of this opulent two-story office. The ground floor features overstuffed furnishings, elegant side tables, and an altar-like desk of dark marble. A delicate spiral staircase on the and balcony of dark iron rise to a lofty library overhead. Both floors' fixtures framed the lake of blood spread across the room's center as a lady, elegantly dressed in fine leather robes and what looked to be silken undergarments. Well, not like underwear. I mean like actual undershirts. Sits there, her head tilted back, hair shock gray and silver, with a faint blue and purple mist escaping from her open mouth as her eyes glow blue, staring into nothing. You can see the blood escaping in thin rivulets from her open mouth as she surrounds herself, and not just that, but a fog cloud of yellow smoke.
I think we found our seconds of those acolytes or whatever.
I agree. I think we have.
Also, I wonder if this is the one that we heard about, the lady that's the killer.
The bag lady.
Yeah.
no, maybe. She appears dead.
Nope.
Like, did you say there was a slit across her throat, or did I mishear that?
You did, most certainly.
Okay.
No, she is. There's a whole lot of blood around her, but no, she's not dead.
Is there that silver slit thing like was on the other guy?
No.
Is there a chandelier in this room?
There is not.
Okay.
But she's clearly letting out yellow smoke.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
I'll look at the other guys as in, like, attack kind of
As you
thing and
sit
see
there
what
pondering what to do, that fog bank, that yellow mist roils and literally reaches towards you. Each of you gets to make a will save.
Do you still need us to say what we rolled, or are
No,
you
I can
back to
see.
roll 20?
I can see.
I'm gonna re-roll.
Fair enough. All right, Litrix, as that yellow fog bank roils towards you, it strikes your friends. You can see it moves so quickly, snake-like. It wraps around you, and you find yourself awaking in a different place once again. And you hear the howl of distant wolves calling in the distance, just screaming for you. You don't feel afraid, but instead feel the need to join them. You remember some time ago feeling the delights of fresh blood, hot, running from your mouth. You remember hunting and feasting, the cries of creatures and innocents alike. And you feel pleased at these memories. For the rest of you, though, the fog bank rolls over you and nothing seems to change. It doesn't draw you into anything else. But that creature sitting in the middle of the room shuts their mouth, and you can see her raise a hand to wipe away the smears of blood still tracing their way down her lips. She smiles, cocks her head lightly to one side.
I'm drawing my sword cane as this is going on.
Mm-hmm.
We've been down this path before, so I'm going to try and will myself awake.
Go ahead. Make another will save. For some reason, you don't feel like this is a dream. It doesn't seem any less real, and as you look around, you can feel that a heated pressure just behind your breastbone. You can feel warmth. Something unusual and heated in there. So I'll get everyone to roll for initiative.
And that initiative also should be at 28 because of my improved initiative feat.
Okay, so Ostrich at 18, Neru at 26. Is that 26? Yeah. Litrix at 14, and Seveston at 28.
If you, Joel, if you want to not have to do that manually, if you go into the settings under your perception tab on the front sheet, there's a special spot specifically for initiative modifiers, so you can just put that in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where is that?
But before you
I
do
tried
that,
doing that.
though, Seveston, you're first up.
Okay. I want to move across the room over this way.
Mm-hmm.
And try and go up the stairs. Do I have to go through the blood to get there, or...?
No, you can easily trace around it.
Okay.
You managed to get up the stairs itself onto the second floor.
Okay.
With 2 movement actions. Still have 1 left.
Throw a book at her.
I was more so thinking I want to, jump down from the balcony towards her.
Okay.
But I would probably need my final movement to get over towards her and then jump.
Yeah, so you can position yourself with your final action to do that next turn, definitely.
Okay, so that's 90 feet of movement?
Yeah.
Okay.
So next turn you'll be able to use just a movement and an attack, and you'll land on her and you'll do the attack, no problem.
Okay.
Next round. Okay. All right. Neru.
Neru wants to shoot a fire ray at her.
You attempt to strike with a fire ray, but the fog raises up and literally forms a massive towering shield that absorbs your blow. Anything else you'd like to try?
Sure. I'm gonna cast who's our tank? Ostrich, right? Or is that Litrix?
No, Litrix is the tank. Keep in mind you only have 1 action left, though.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna cast Sanctuary on Sevestin. Oh no, I have to touch you. On Ostrich, who's not asleep, I assume.
Ostrich is not asleep, that's true.
All right, I will cast it on Ostrich.
That's 2 actions to cast, though.
No, Sanctuary. I have it as a 1 action.
Sanctuary is a somatic and verbal spell, good sir.
Sure. Okay, then I'm done.
Okay. Just give me a moment. And I'll actually post you the link to the official SRD right now. Just to show you I'm not being a dick. It's actually, I did look it up first. Okay. Alright, surrounded by this constant confusion and movement, Ostrich, what do you want to do?
I am going to examine Letrix and see if I can't get them back into the fray, because I don't want to be going into this fight without our paladin, if it can be avoided.
Okay, what kind? So you could do a perception or an occult check.
Let's see, I think my occult is just ever so slightly better and probably more applicable, so...
Take a moment and walk over to them. You can see that their eyes are still open, glaring forward at the creature. Their lips are peeled back and snarling. It reminds you of a rabid dog. Actually, you can hear the deep growl coming from within their chest. You know that you'd have to do something to snap them out of it, either push them or maybe a little bit of pain, a pinch, something. You wouldn't be able to wake them directly, but maybe it might give them the edge in actually pulling it themselves.
I'll do that. I'll just give him a slap on the cheek and grab his head and point towards the figure and be like, "Kill that thing." Oh.
Okay.
Would it just take? How many actions would that take?
I would say 1 for the occultism check and 1 to wake them up and point them into place, kind of thing. Not really wake, and then you still have 1 more action left.
Okay, seeing what Sevestin is doing, I imagine that I probably know that he's got a flair for flashy combat maneuvers and can probably determine that he's probably going to be doing something not very well thought out, so I'll try and position myself in such a way that I'm flanking once he jumps down.
Okay. I'll even allow you to delay your movement so that once you figure out where he's landed, you can rush towards and offer flanking as soon as he's landed. I wouldn't mind doing that for you.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay. That way you're not just in the mist by yourself. Litrix, I need you to make a will save, please. Okay. In the dream, you feel yourself drawn towards these wolves, crying out to you. You start moving and find yourselves running on all fours, on padded feet, the fur kind of erupting out of your body. And you feel like, and you look like, a very large wolf. You begin to scent things in the distance, the pounding blood of prey. In real life, however, you're not so much a wolf as you are a crazed maniac. Looking forward through eyes clouded over by just too much blood, headache, and rage pounding through you, you leap towards the sitting figure and make an unarmed attack.
I do have claws.
Yep. Then make an attack with claws then.
I just wanted to double check what's up.
Yep. And another one. Okay. And as you leap towards this person still roiled deep in your sleep, your claws pierce through the thin leather robes into their chest and begin ripping and tearing as your teeth close on her throat and snap her neck. You can feel the fresh blood dribbling along your tongue, and you enjoy it. It feels really good. All right. It's her turn, and as she is attacked by this ravenous beast, she just dies. The fog dissipates, and Litrix is still asleep, still not quite aware of what's going on. Seveston.
She just died?
Oh yeah, she's dead.
Hmm. Well, I didn't come up here to not jump down. Let's go ahead and jump down.
Okay. Go ahead and acrobatics it. You manage to come down relatively gently, thrusting, like, doing a little parkour leap off of the balcony itself, rolling gently to your feet beside the body, with Ostrich quickly coming to the opposite side. You surround the lady, only to find that she is definitely dead and being savaged by Litrix. Claws and teeth.
Hmm. Just trying to think of what I can do to knock Litrix out of this. Okay, he's acting like an animal, so I'm gonna hiss at him like a cat and try and get him into submission. Can I try
Ooh.
intimidation on him?
I would definitely allow an intimidation check.
Okay.
Would I intimidate back against
Nope,
that?
you would make a
or-
will save.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So, you still have one more action left. Seveston, what would you like
I'm
to
gonna
do?
dueling parry because I don't know if I can trust my friend right now.
All right, Neru.
He's just like ripping away at her. So
Yep. His teeth are still on her obviously broken neck as he rips away with his claws, digging deeper and deeper into her abdomen.
I don't know. I could try a religion check, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can figure out how to get him out.
This doesn't seem to be something religion-based at all. It's definitely something plainer or primal about there being a lizard folk, maybe? Or a mental illness of some sort. A berserker status, possibly.
Maybe we just have to wait for him to tire himself out. I'll just back up a bit, I guess.
Okay. Do you move out of the room or do you stay in the room?
I'll stay in the room. I'll just move further away from him.
All right. Ostrich?
I'd like to approach this from a medical standpoint and see if I can identify what's going on with Litrix.
Okay, definitely go ahead and roll a medicine check. You know, even through your amnesiac sort of state, that this is something that occasionally happens to lizard folk. They harken back to their primal nature. And of course, to lizard folk, humans are just another food source. More advanced lizard folk certainly don't eat sentient people, but you're afraid that maybe Litrix has regressed.
I will use an action if I have to indicate to the other two that we're having to restrain our party member, and then I will use a readied action to restrain Litrix if they attack
Okay.
me or Seveston, since I imagine we're both kind of fairly close to each other
It's
and
true.
to Litrix.
All right, Litrix, I need you to roll another will save. Okay. So you turn, you hear this hissing noise. You look over and you can see an enemy. Their claws already out. And you feel agitated that something so small and pitiful is in your space. Best thing to do is to chase them out, of course, so you lunge, making a quick claw attack. Go ahead and roll. Alright, so does your dueling parry avoid that, good sir?
Nope.
Okay, and you make a second attack with your claws.
Oof.
Alright, and since you did have to move to do that, as you come, you snap out of your dream all of a sudden after hunting down this stupid invader to find yourself claws dug into your friend Seveston, kind of half paused, the oddest taste on your tongue, like you just chewed through somebody's throat. You can see your hands are covered in gore.
Oh my god, lay on hands, lay on hands!
Okay, and I took 11 damage from that.
Yeah,
I'll pull my claws out and heal 12 of that.
that's fair. oh, sorry.
Why is there blood in my mouth? What the fuck?
But you look and you can see that there's gore covering your armor from chin all the way down your chest. You
As he's kind of disoriented, I'm just going to nod towards the body so he can turn around to see it.
Did I do my... I'm
I'm
gonna
going
go
to
on
examine
assault and
the
say
body
some
of the
prayers.
woman.
what was that, Ostrich?
I'm going to examine the body of the woman
Okay.
and see if there's anything aside from the, recently made lizard folk claw marks that I can discern.
Taking a quick look at the body, you do know that there are a few wounds that are far too clean to have been made by the claws. Looking at her, her tongue has been severed. It's been completely cut out. And then at her wrists are two quick cuts, not as if to self-damage, but as just a bloodlet, like a medical treatment. Other than that, there's nothing about her person that would suggest anything out of the ordinary.
And is she carrying any kind of occult symbols or markings on her?
You do find a ring bearing a number of keys, and you find on her person, it looks to be a fairly recent tattoo, not fully healed, so within, you'd say, a week or two, across her lower abdomen, of course it's been interrupted, of just chains. A tattoo of chains.
Would I have any recognition of what that could represent or mean?
In the literal sense, it reminds you of the book The Chain of Knights.
And that's all I'm gonna get.
Your odd senses kind of thing make you look around, and you do note that, unusually enough, there's a lot of pretty about this room. It's too gorgeous. It looks like someone mashed together an office, like a psychiatrist's office, and a queen's room. Like, it's too comfortable almost.
Can I look further into that?
I mean, you can tell that the room itself it was made by someone who had exceedingly good taste. There's a lot of soothingly, like, dark tones to the paint, and it gives the impression of somebody who, while ostentatious, was not overly wasteful.
Yeah, I'm going to search the room.
Okay. Taking a look around, making a perception check. Okay. You notice that there's a desk. upstairs that you find. And on the ring of keys, you're trying a few of them, you do know that they do unlock. It's a marble desk that features several drawers, and they're filled with mundane writing supplies and extensive but rather uninteresting documents. One of them is heavily locked, and a tiny key, very fragile, is the one that opens it. You uncover what looks to be her journal. It's a fairly concise record of her daily duties and observations, but spending a few minutes perusing it, about 10 or so, you do find something interesting about Hazerton Lowls and Count Lowls. They start to appear with very startling regularity. And for an instant, you have just a flash of insight. The full name: Count Hazerton Pragmus Lowls IV, ruler of the county of Versex of Ustalov. You're not sure where the name came from, but you know it. You remember it feeling... bad. That name, it makes you feel uncomfortable. As well as, if everyone wants to take a look, you see this. And I'll read out the notes for everyone who doesn't want to just spend some time. Oath Day. Another unexpected call from Count Lowls. These have become so common, and Lowls' focus is so singular that they no longer leave me apprehensive. He requested to see me after his visit with Xandalis, though. He claims to have a theoretical solution for the poor man's condition. I don't know what the Count and my prized patient have been discussing, and Lowls again refused to share, but I doubt that lordly amateur psychologist has truly hit upon anything of worth. Regardless, I'd be a fool not to humour my liege. Starte. Lowell's solution was not at all what I had expected. I had no clue where he turned it up, but on his most recent visit he brought along a copy of Valhadis's The Chain of Nights, a near-legendary collection of psycho-arcane studies and treatments focused on dreaming. While I abhor arcane tampering, if there's a permanent solution to Xandalis' nightmares, it could be here. Lowell allowed me to study the text for the duration of his visit, but staunchly refused to leave it in my possession. Moonday. Lowell has made me an offer. His copy of The Chain of Nights. All I must soon return is accept a handful of new patients, former associates of his that have suffered some unprecedented manner of group amnesia. I might accept this as a charity on the Count's behalf, but he insists that I keep no record of their committal. The term has made me suspicious, but I can learn more of these curious strangers once they're in my care. If it means the possibility of a cure for Xandalis and others, I welcome the bargain. Toil Day. The Chain of Nights is a marvel. It'll take years of study to unravel all its possibilities, but I've already discovered a process by which chronic dreams might be drawn forth and disposed of like so much psychic gristle. Tomorrow, our experiment begins.
Wow. Starting to see how we might have gotten here.
All right. And with that, I think we'll leave it there for tonight. I think you guys have had enough shock and awe for a little bit. And a whole lot of story development. So thank you so much, my friends, for joining me. Even though I was late. Apologies. And to all my goblins out there, I hope you had a fantastic night and I hope you enjoyed. Bye.